Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this session on how to accelerate sales cycles by adding Storylane demos to AssetMule assets. I am George Soto, one of the co-founders here at AssetMule. I gotta say, Jackson, as I mentioned in the back room here or green room, I'm pretty excited about having a chance to work with Storylane, and we're super excited about the latest integration. Just given my background in the space, why don't we just take a quick second to go around the horn? Jackson, if you want to be next, just kind of introduce yourself to the audience, and then Justin, you can take us home with introductions.
Sure thing, George, and thanks for having me on the stream. I'm Jackson Eldridge, account executive here at Storylane. Excited to show this new integration.
Awesome. Justin?
Yeah, Justin Dorfman, co-founder and CEO at AssetMule. I think maybe folks might be familiar with me from our previous weekly office hours, but also, like George, huge fan of the interactive demo space, huge fan of Storylane, very excited about this integration, and really looking forward to diving in today and showing it to the world.
Awesome. And for the folks out there, again, thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, this is a special office hours. So if you do have any questions that come up for us, go ahead. You're probably watching this on LinkedIn or YouTube. Go ahead and comment in the comments section. And then towards the end, we'll go ahead and get to your questions. Of course, I'll be spending time watching the comments and making sure that we are gathering those. So without further ado, Jackson, why don't you just dive in to the world of interactive demos? Why is this so important? I know there are a lot of trends that have led to this stage, both macro and just from a buyer expectation perspective. Maybe you can dig into like, what are these interactive demos? Why does it matter? Why is it so important these days?
Yeah, definitely. I'll share my screen, got a few slides set up, and then we'll get into how to build out interactive demos as well, and then show that integration into AssetMule. So I'll share my screen.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah. First topic, interactive demos, what are they? These are self-serve demo experiences that can take buyers through the top features and use cases of your product. Compared to other demo assets like built on video where you're passively engaging, for interactive demos, they're very immersive and interactive. So not passively engaging. Every step along the way, your demo viewer is going to be clicking, selecting branching paths, finding the exact features that they care about, and they're driving every step in the workflow. And they can be built with screenshots, HTML screens, or video clips. So that's a quick description of what interactive demos are. I definitely want to show a few examples. And then let's go through how sales teams are using them to accelerate their sales cycles. I think the top two use cases here is going to be consolidating your one-to-one meetings. So instead of having stakeholders on the buying committee that are booking additional time with your account executive for every conversation, every look that they need to get into the product, they can have an interactive product demo that can be viewed asynchronously 24/7. Anytime to answer their questions. So you're consolidating those ad hoc one-to-one meetings that are draining your resources in your calendar. And then the second part of this is enabling your champion. So you probably have that one-to-one call. You create a champion that wants to build out a business case, trial your software. You can give them an interactive demo asset to then go sell your solution internally to those stakeholders in the buying committee. That way they can just consolidate meetings, but also build consensus faster for your solution. So that's a quick introduction. Let's go through an example build of what building a Storylane demo would look like, and then we'll get into some examples of kind of some fleshed out versions in two different formats. So hypothetically, let's say that I'm building an interactive demo for Mercury's banking platform. I'm going to open up Storylane's plugin, create new demo, and then start capturing with screenshots. And after this countdown, Storylane's going to be tracking all my clicks, page transitions, and automatically stitching together a guided demo. So I'm going to do my workflow as normal. I will search a customer account. All right, let's say that's our first workflow. It's going to launch us into a preview. So Storylane's automatically going to add a title card and then sequence out the screens with hotspots every time that I clicked, showing the page transitions. And we can also insert video clips of me typing out that Google search. And then ideally at the end, you would present that call to action. So they viewed the micro demo. Does it make sense to talk to sales, book another call? So from here, I would go into the editor. I'm not going to spend too much time on tweaking and adding language and all the bells and whistles, but I want to show you what that in product could look like. And we built out one guided demo. I want to talk about the idea of a product tour. So presenting maybe a menu of your top use cases. So let me go here to a fully fleshed out demo where you start off the demo. Welcome to Mercury. Let's explore why startups use Mercury for all their banking needs. So we have voiceover clips added with AI. You're seeing a track and zoom. It's panning around the software. We've got a backdrop and spotlight. And then we can show a small video clip of me typing out the actual Google search. Then we're back to the clickable screens. Then at the end of the demo flow, congrats, ready to see a personalized demo on how Mercury can help your startup. And then from here, you have that branching path of keep exploring other use cases or go ahead and book a demo. So if I say keep exploring, then it takes me to other chapters of other use cases, or I could say book a demo from here, and that's going to open up my next call to action on a different tab. So instead of just doing one workflow, having a product tour with multiple chapters can really speak to a larger buying committee, and people can find exactly what they need to see. So that's a screenshot demo, but you also have the option to edit and adapt the content screens if you really want to personalize a demo. So let's go through that second format that we saw with the Storylane plugin. How can we build out a demo with HTML? So this time I'll select HTML. I'm going to capture one of these screens. Instead of being automatic on the click, it's more of like a 2-second to 3-second capture. The screen goes opaque, and then it's going to replicate that HTML screen back into Storylane. So I'll finish capturing. Now this time in the demo builder, we actually have two modes to work in, the edit mode and the guide mode. So compared to the screenshot and video clips that are static, you can't really adapt the content. Now with HTML, I can click into any of these elements and I'll change that from 5 million to 500 million. I could change out credit card to debit card. Now, the other part of this is that you can start adding personalization within the demo screens. So for this custom leave behind, instead of welcome Jane, I wanted to say the name and details of my prospect that I'm inserting into my AssetMule or sending as a leave behind. So instead of welcome Jane, I'm going to click on the green brackets and go to my token option. So I'm going to insert welcome first name token. Instead of Mercury balance, I want my prospect's name to be C there. So I'm going to say company name token. Up in the top left, we have all these Mercury logos. I want my prospect to see their own logo. So I'm going to go to image token and call it my logo token. So not only can you add personalization in the demo screen, you can also add that personalization in the guide step. So I could, drop a tooltip and say, hey, first name token, here's how this feature applies to your business. So with HTML, it's going to be more immersive, you have more control, but also the personalization element. So let's go to an example here in my workspace. So I have my HTML product tour, and I spun off a custom link. Let's say that you have an AssetMule that you're setting off to Storylane, Jackson specifically, and you want a matching Storylane demo that's personalized as well. Now, when you spin off the custom link, here's where you can input that information. So instead of first name token, I want Jackson, Storylane, and then we've got their logo uploaded in the logo token. So now I can, grab the share link, embed this into my AssetMule, and now they have this custom experience. Here's what that looks like. So taking a pause there, we've got this intro video clip, but in the text of the tooltip, hi, Jackson, here's a recap of how Storylane can use Mercury for all your startup banking needs. We've got that voiceover inserted, but then you can see the personalization in the demo screen itself. And this is a fully scrollable HTML screen that retains the styling of your platform. So we've got welcome Jackson, we've got Storylane balance because of that company name token, and then we've got these Storylane logos in the demo environment. So it's really gives that look and feel of what it's going to be like with your platform. And instead of inserting a video clip of me typing something out, I can actually type and interact within the environment. So in this guided step, it's saying, hey, Jackson, type out Google in the search bar, and that's going to trigger the next step. So these are some of the benefits of going with HTML over screenshot, is that you can actually add personalization into the demo environment and spin off that custom link. And then same, one other key differentiator here, when you go to HTML, I also have this chapter called Explore the Platform. You can also give like a nonlinear sandbox experience to your prospects. So instead of having to create a trial environment, they can launch right into a replica of the platform, and they can test out that same workflow that they just saw in the guided demo. Instead of being told where to click, they can do it on their own. And then, of course, we've got this call to action down here saying book a demo to take that next step. So that was quite a bit there. We might have some comments coming in. Let me stop the screen share. But that's how you can spin up a Storylane demo with screenshot, or you can go even further with personalization when you go with HTML. So George, Justin, any questions, feedback, or questions from the chat?
Yeah, no, I mean we love it, right? Like we've been using it for a while, and I think it's an incredible tool, and we're really thankful for the opportunity to do the integration for our customers. Justin, why don't you, speaking of the integration, dive into how these two products can now work to really optimize that sales cycle?
Yeah, no, it's super cool seeing the demo, and I really love the personalization in the HTML. That's super powerful, and it plays really nicely with the personalized assets that you can build in AssetMule as well. Jackson hit the nail on the head. I think the key here is thinking about ways you can both drive engagement and conversions throughout the sales process. So as we'll see in AssetMule, we have all kinds of assets that you can build in here, from outbound one-pagers where you can embed an interactive Storylane demo in the asset and give this prospect the ability to actually play around with your product before committing to jumping on a call with you, right? To even, I've done this before in my slide deck, being able to actually give the demo of the product from the slides, right? To following up with a leave behind asset of some kind where you include that demo so that you can enable your champion to sell on your behalf, as Jackson mentioned, as that champion is trying to get their VP on board and their CFO on board and the various team members, being able to actually showcase that product right from the asset can save setting up those 3, 4, 5 meetings that usually have to take place, all the way through to examples of, you're coming up against a competitor. You can create a specific Storylane demo demonstrating how your product is different than that competitor and embed that in a competitive asset. So there's all kinds of really, really interesting ways that you can use these interactive demos and assets. But today what I'll do is I'll give you just a quick high-level walkthrough of the integration itself. And then I'm going to actually share a template that we actually partnered with Storylane on, a leave behind template that is a really, really great way for you to get started and try this out before thinking about then embedding it in all kinds of other assets that you're using. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And George, let me know when it is visible here.
Good to go.
Cool. So I'll start just showing the new Storylane component, and I'll go into this Storylane template in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and create a template from scratch at first, and I'm going to add some sort of sections and components here just to start building out this template. So I'm going to do the personalized header at the top with AssetMule on the left, right? And then I'm going to leave this open so that my sales team can add the logo of their prospect that they're sending this to. And then I'm going to add a header, which is our main value statement here. So I'm going to go to my value statements and pull that in. And now let's say under that, I wanted to add the Storylane interactive demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another 1-column section. And in the library of pre-designed components that I can choose from, you'll see this new Storylane demo component that I can add in here. And the idea is that now I can embed that Storylane demo right into my one-pager that I'm building here. So if you don't have a Storylane account yet today, you can easily get started for free. So they have a free forever tier that allows you to build your first demo. You can build it in under 10 minutes. It's really easy. I've done it myself. So go ahead and do that. But in my case, I have a Storylane account and I have a demo that I'm going to want to embed here. And I'll go over to my Storylane account here, and you'll see that AssetMule demo that I'm going to use here. So it's already built out, ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the sharing link for that demo. And just by going back to AssetMule and going to that Storylane component and pasting in that link, now I have that interactive demo right in my one-pager, and I can continue building this out. And then eventually my sales team can create an asset from it, personalize it for their prospect, and share it with them. So that's just showing the Storylane component and how you go about building that in here. But as I mentioned, a really great place to start is actually using this new deal acceleration template that we've created with the Storylane team. And the use case here is this is a nice follow-up asset, right, to leave behind after a demo, showcasing that demo that then your champion can go and show to the various members and stakeholders of their team, bypass that need for additional demos and one-to-one meetings and really speed up that deal process. So I'll show you, I'm just going to walk through this template without any content in it. And then we've started using this actually at AssetMule, our own version of this. And I'll show you that and how you can then go ahead and share it with your prospects and track as they're engaging with the asset and the demo that's within the asset. So you'll see from the top to bottom here, we start right away with personalization, where you can add your logo and your prospect's logo here. You can then add a little bit of a message here, maybe highlighting a couple of things that you talked about in the meeting and talking about what else is in this asset, and showcasing, mentioning the Storylane demo that's showcased in the asset itself. You can also add a video. So I like to add a quick Loom video, 30 seconds to 1 minute, again, to go along with that brief message here, just to add that personal touch and human touch to the asset. You can add some logos of relevant customers that you're serving, that might be in their industry, or just some recognizable logos that might add some social proof to this here. And then again, this is that Storylane component where you can drop in your demo right in the one pager. And then finally, we ended with another bit of social proof here. You can add a relevant customer quote, again, whether that's a similar persona, industry, or use case that they're talking about in there. So a very simple, to the point asset, but one that, again, is personalized, interactive, and has that Storylane demo where your champion can now sort of share it around the team and give everyone a look and feel to what the product that you're selling is all about. So as I mentioned, we've been using this ourselves at AssetMule. So if I go to the team tab here, you'll see our AssetMule leave behind with the Storylane demo. And I've got my logo here. I've got that welcome message. I've got the video. I've got our logos and our Storylane demo in here and the quotes. So as a salesperson, what I can do, if I go here, is I can actually create an asset from that template that my product marketer in this case is probably set up for me. And let's say I'm actually sending this to Storylane. I'm sending it to Jackson over at Storylane. So I can go ahead and add the Storylane logo in here just by putting in storylane.io. And AssetMule finds the logo, pulls it in, formats it, and everything. If there's a little bit of formatting that you want to do here, for instance, I might want to make the logos a little more equal in size. I can easily do that here. And then I can start personalizing. So I can add Jackson's name in here. Again, I have a placeholder video here, but I may want to record that quick Loom and just add it in here. I've got the logos that I want to use here. Again, if these are, if I'm going after a SMB company, these might be good logos. If I'm going for an enterprise company, I might want to pull in different logos. So there's that easy way to pull in your snippets and personalize the logos for that prospect. And then I've got my Storylane demo preloaded in here. Now, what's really cool, again, with snippets is you could have multiple Storylane demos saved as snippets in here, right? So maybe this is my high-level demo, but there's another demo that is on a specific use case or focused on a specific industry or persona, or maybe it's a competitive Storylane demo, right? Showing how we're different from a competitor. So what the salesperson can do when you have this library of Storylane demos is pull in the right one that makes the most sense for that particular prospect. And then again, finally, I've got this quote in here. And again, I can pull in a more relevant quote if there is one that I think is more specific to the use case or industry or persona that I'm sending this to. And now that I'm ready, I can go ahead and give this a name. So I'm going to call this AssetMule for Storylane. I'm going to save this asset. And then I can preview it before sending, just making sure everything looks good and it's ready to go. And then when I'm ready, I can go ahead and share this with my prospect. And I can share it as a link. I can share it as a link and screenshot. Or the most popular, my favorite, is this share link and animated screenshot, where now when I go into my email, I can just paste this in here and you'll see it's this nice scroll through where they can see it's personalized for them. They can see that they've got the logo in there, it's their name, their video, and that really drives them to check out the page here. And now this is what the prospect will see, right? They'll see AssetMule for Storylane, so their own logo in there. You'll see that personalized message. They can watch that video here. They can go ahead and click through that interactive demo right from the assets, check out the quote, and when they're ready, go ahead and book the meeting. And what's great about all of this is we're tracking all those actions that they took on the page. So in real time, they'll get the salesperson will get a notification that, hey, somebody just checked out your AssetMule for Storylane asset. But then within AssetMule, we can see all those actions that they took on the page, right? We can see that they viewed the asset, that they clicked on that little welcome video that I embedded in there, that they clicked through the Storylane demo, and then finally that they clicked through the book a meeting button. And maybe they booked the meeting, and that's awesome. We converted them there. Or maybe they clicked on it, but they didn't book it, right? So we know that they're thinking about it, right? And we can follow up and chase them. We know that there's some interest there. There's some intrigue from their actions, and we can go ahead and prioritize that account and make sure that we get that meeting booked. So that is the quick demo of the Storylane component and how you can easily embed them into any kind of asset really that you want to build in AssetMule, but also that we have that leave behind that deal acceleration by Storylane template that will be a really great, quick and easy use case for you to start testing this out and start driving engagement and conversions with your Storylane demos in AssetMule. So I'm going to pause here, and yeah, any questions that we have here?
Awesome. Well, for the folks out there, again, we got a couple of minutes left. If you do have any questions or comments about this integration for Jackson, if you're a Storylane user out there, I know quite a bunch of our customers are Storylane users. Go ahead, and this is your time to ask questions live and get it from the source. Jackson, I'll tell you, I have been a fan, as I mentioned a couple of times, of the interactive demo space. It somewhat has changed over time. Gartner and Forrester has had different titles for the category. And I thought that the one-to-one use case, so enabling or empowering your sales reps to be able to create these personalized experiences without having to go through the normal ringer for getting these experiences. In the past, I remember as a salesperson, for me to get a customized demo was, first of all, impossible unless it was like IBM's writing in or Microsoft and it's a big deal and we got to hop on it and let's pull some engineers from the engineering team to do something custom, right? And otherwise it was completely impossible. I might have to get some some screenshots and pull in a designer again. If it's not a top tier strategic account, forget about it. What I love about Storylane in this whole new category is, number one, now I can be able to create these personalized experiences like you showed without having to be blocked by all these workflows and issues and politics and all this other stuff that happens. And I can do it on my own, and I can really put together these experiences based off of where I'm at in the buyer journey or the sales process as well, right? So if I'm on let's say a first call where I'm doing some light discovery, I might want to do like, a harbor tour or a mini demo, right? For real quick, right? I know we all grew up, at least me, right? I grew up in a world where it was like, don't do a demo unless you do like, one or two calls and you get this thorough set of discovery. Well, part of it is because actually creating something custom was a total pain in the neck. Now you can do it, right? You can go into your Storylane, library, pick a harbor tour or mini demo, right? That's specific to that persona. And you can give them a glance into something that's really, really focused. I mean, there are so many different use cases that get me super excited. And of course, if you're further down the funnel, you can also be able to get a demo that is more of a POC or much larger, right? Sure. And then the last thing is that putting this together now with an experience that has more context, right? Other assets, other messaging, these sort of things that are sitting aside of this product-led experience in the relationship or the integration between AssetMule and Storylane, I think is just such a powerful, perspective and set of tools to provide your buyer.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And I think it's solving for this issue that both sides do not enjoy. It's that tug of war, the push pull between that inbound lead, that buyer that wants to see the product and have their questions answered, but they have to talk to an SDR qualification call, then go to an account executive for another discovery call. And then maybe a week or two later, they can finally sit down with that solution architect, that sales engineer, and get their question answered and interface with the product. But it's that whole push pull of, are you qualified? Do you have the deal size? Are we going to ban you, med pick you? And the salesperson, they want to speed up the sales cycle. The buyer wants to see the product as soon as possible. So having these interactive demo assets that are solving that bottlenecking issue. So instead of having to reserve your sales engineers and your solutions architects for later stage, larger ACV deals, you can create a templatized Storylane experience that then you can hand off to a non-technical counterpart on the sales team that can be shown from the website, from an AssetMule within a couple minutes of meeting that prospect. And totally agree. I think having the additional components from an AssetMule of the social proof of the logos that you're working with, the description of the value proposition with the headers and the text, and having that personalized Loom video. It's great having the Storylane demo, but all the accompanying assets around it really give your buyer everything that they need.
That's awesome. I have a quick question for you, Jackson. So I showed in our demo that we can track the things that the buyer's doing and the prospect's doing on the AssetMule page, and that they click through the demo. I know you guys also have some really awesome analytics as well. What are some of the things that you guys can show in Storylane as they're clicking through the demos? What sort of analytics are you providing?
Yeah, great point. So in the AssetMule, it said, hey, they interacted with the demo asset, but when you go into Storylane or connect those analytics into your CRM, you're going to go further by saying, of the 4 chapters, which 2 did they click on? How many steps did they make it through? What was their completion percentage, total time on demo? And then also the ability to see, it started with my champion, and then they forwarded the AssetMule or the Storylane demo to the VP, finance. You can see how that asset is being circulated and multi-threading through the organization.
That's really, really powerful, especially that last piece, I think, right? We live in this remote world, right? Where I like to say, this stat that I've seen sort of floating around, that 83% of the buying process now happens without the salesperson in the room, right? So, all these conversations are happening behind closed doors, right? That the salesperson has no visibility into until you have a tool like AssetMule and Storylane, where you can start to see these assets are being shared around, right? And that VP or that key decision maker has clicked through the demo, and they have a deep understanding of what the product does and how it can solve their needs, right? So it's really, really interesting to think about, like, these things used to have to happen in meetings, right? You had to get that VP to the meeting. The VP is super busy. It might get rescheduled. That could drag out a sales process 6 to 9 months, and we know time kills all deals. So this is a way to really accelerate that sales process and get the visibility into what's going on behind those closed doors, even if you're not in the room. So super powerful stuff.
And real quick, I got a DM here. Question: does it have to be a Storylane account? I think. Thanks, Sean. I think what Sean's asking is, does it have to be a paid Storylane account to be able to use AssetMule plus Storylane? Justin, maybe you can speak to that.
So it doesn't have to be a paid Storylane account. Storylane has a really great free tier that allows you to build your first demo for free. And it's super easy. I think it took me, 10 minutes or so to build our one, right? So you can get that. You can start using it on your website. That's the first place that we started using it. But now, and then you can embed it in your sales assets in AssetMule as well. But with the value of upgrading, maybe you can talk a little bit more about this, Jackson. But you obviously, one of the main values is you get more demos, right? You can create all those different use cases. So beyond that harbor sort of overview demo that George talked about, you can get into specific use cases for specific personas or differentiations with competitors. But what are some of the other things, Jackson, that you guys offer in in the paid tiers?
Yeah, in the paid tiers, it goes from that first demo to unlimited demos that you can have versions A, B, C based on industry or persona. And then when you upgrade to some of the higher tiers, you also have dedicated support. And then thinking about how do we expand from the marketing use case to equipping an entire sales team. That's when you talk about like full account managers, dedicated support, HTML demos, just more options there.
Awesome. Well, I know we're up here on time. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us today. Really appreciate it. Jackson, thanks so much for joining us and talking shop. This is going to live on as content on our websites, YouTube, and so on. If you are not yet a Storylane user, go to storylane.io. Check it out. As we mentioned, there's a free version. If you're not an AssetMule user, go to assetmule.ai. There's a free forever version of the product as well. And definitely go to AssetMule templates, check out the Storylane Deal Acceleration template, and give it a whirl. Let us know what you think. And of course, if you are a first timer for this office hours, thanks for joining us. And if you're an existing customer or existing user who's been through these, thanks for hanging out again. And without further ado, see you at the next office hours every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day, everyone.